Alright, B maintenance check. The B check. Each of the B maintenance with the check with the form A with the check with the additional and the following. Lubricating oil change the change interval. The lubricating oil of the drain with the oil pan will make the engine repair with the new oil, but must be used. Do not use the oil after it has been drained from the oil pan. Maintain a proper B maintenance with the check with the interval. The very important factor of preserving the integrity of the engine. Lubricating oil contamination with the direct result of the engine operates with the load factor involved with the amount of the contamination generally depends on the amount of the fuel of the engine consumed with the laboratory of the field test that has been determined that use of the recommended quality oil filters and turbocharger of the engine with its good condition equipped with the bypass oil with the fuel filter can consume 255 gallons of the fuel each with the gallon of the oil cements before the maximum level of oil contamination reached. B. On these findings, the Cummins engine company recommends that the B check of the interval be determined by the use of the charter method. Each of the B check of the interval is recommended to change the full flow filter and the bypass filter. The total lubricating system capacity for the gallons can be determined adding the high level of the lubricating oil with the oil pan capacity of the full flow for the bypass filter. Lubricating oil system must be rounded with the nearest gallon when applied with the chart with the table 2 list with the capacity of the full flow bypass filter elements. Chart method. From the laboratory field test we know that the maximum contamination level for a gallon of oil is reached if the 255 gallons of the fuel is consumed into the turbocharged end of the 280 gallons of fuel. The fuel is naturally aspirated. The engine 255 to 280 figure of the constant U of the equation for the oil change period. The following illustration has the U of the chart method to determine the recommendation oil change interval. Description of filter capacity, element, and PM, the gallons and engine family. Round the capacity of the nearest whole gallon with the select of the chart and top of the off-highway turbocharger of the bypass filter lube system capacity of the 27 gallons. Also assume the average fuel consumption is 17.5 gallons per hour. The average oil consumption is 8 hours per quart and 2 read chart. Change period of the constant fuel consumed with the line over the oil oil system capacity 1/2 of the makeup of the oil added with the given period. Oil added change interval with the oil consumption rate and the change for the period. The constant for the fuel consumed with the joint system capacity for the 1/2 of the change period with the oil consumption rate. Solving the equation for the oil change period for the given the equation for the U for the developing of the chart method. The change period for the constant time for the fuel is consumed with the time for the oil consumption time the system capacity over the oil consumption 1/2 of the constant fuel consumed. The numbers along with the left side of the chart represent the fuel consumption in the gallons per hour divided by the grid between 10 to 20 and equal the part of the defining of the point of the fuel consumption begin with the 17.5 fuel consumption. Draw a line from the left to the right curve to the 8 with the curve that represents the oil consumption rate of 8 hours per quart with the full. For this point of the curve of the 8, draw a line with the perpendicular with the bottom of the chart with the number across the bottom of the chart represents the oil change for the interval for the hours. The perpendicular line with the curve of the 8 intersects with the bottom of the line with the chart between 500 and 600 divided the grid with the 5 equal parts defining the point of the recommendation or for the change interval with the example of the recommendation oil change for the interval of the 500 and 5 hours. B. Select the group of the lube oil consumption entering the chart with the halfway between the average lube oil and the consumption lowest oil consumption in the group of the appropriate chart with each of the group of the use of the fuel consumption determined. 2B with the lube oil with the consumption determined. The 3B the oil change for the interval determined. This manner should be applied with the entire group. Since some of the will have more than one group of the engine model with the change interval should be determined for each of the groups. In some cases it was wise to be divided in some groups into subgroups such as the older NTC 290 with the newer Formula NTC N290s for the change interval to determine 6 are practical known, but the manager must review the oil and the change interval to determine for each of the group. So the oil change interval show the fuel with the consumption gallons per hour with the line loop system capacity of 27 of the gallons, oil consumption HPO. Subgroup considered the other items, and this is preventive of the maintenance schedule. Consider this own past practice for the selection of oil change interval, which he feels the best compromise. Human Engine Company does not recommend that exceeding 25,000 miles and or 600 hours in the oil change interval. Therefore, the chart is limited to 25,000 miles or 600 hours must not exceed. The charts to determine the recommended oil change intervals or include the following pages. Chart method alternative. As an alternative, the chart method determine the B maintenance check interval of the Cummins engine of the company includes recommended that B check be performed with every 10,000 miles or 250 or 6 months. Performing the B check with a 6-month interval of the engine emergency standby operation. Any other operation where left with the recommended lines on a half hours of having been accumulated in a 6-month interval. Alright, operating construction and introduction lube system 10% gallons, 10 gallons oil change intervals, fuel consumption 10 gallons per hour. Also oil change intervals, oil consumption HPQ, fuel consumption 11 gallons, 12 gallons, 13 gallons. Lube capacity 6 gallons, lube capacity 7 gallons, lube capacity 8 gallons, lube capacity 9 gallons. Loop capacity 12 gallons, loop capacity 13 gallons, loop capacity 14 gallons, loop capacity 15 gallons, loop capacity 16 gallons, loop capacity 17 gallons, loop capacity 18 gallons, loop capacity 19 gallons, loop capacity 20 gallons, loop capacity 21 gallons, loop capacity 22 gallons, loop capacity 23 gallons, loop capacity 24 gallons, loop capacity 25 gallons, loop capacity 26 gallons, loop capacity 27 gallons, loop capacity 24 gallons, loop capacity 25 gallons, loop capacity 26 gallons, loop capacity 27 gallons, loop capacity 40 gallons. Oil change intervals, hours, fuel consumption gallons per hour, off-highway turbocharged bypass filter. Lubricating oil analysis. Alternate method of determining when to change the lubricating oil filter to be used for the oil analysis during the laboratory test of the analyte used for the purpose of determining the amount of the contamination for the oil, not predicting the potential engine failure for the recommended with the new change of the operated through the at least one change interval to determine the chart of the method prior to the initial use of the oil analysis in order to initiate the use of oil analysis. The program with a large number of the engine for the AB group with the base with the power rated with the horsepower with the type of the server with the horsepower rating with the group that should be not exceed 225. Otherwise, NTC 270 and NTC 290 could be played from the same group, but however, the NTC 290 and NTC 350 engines should be separate. The group of the C, small v, with the medium V, and H and K models should be in a separate group. All the after the engines have been grouped in a subgroup, consisting of the 10% of the total engine for the engine for each of the group shall be selected for the use of the oil analysis. If the group consists of less than 50 engines, but more than 25 engines, subgroup of the size of being the 5 engines for the group with less than 25 engines, the subgroup size shall be 8 engines. Then selecting the engines for each of the subgroups shall be completely random. If the group of the engine shall be set with the oil change for the interval described under the chart method. When the engine reaches for the engine for the second chart of the method, the oil change interval, the oil exchange should be performed on all the units of the group except for those engines selected for the subgroup of the engine. Subgroup shall be only have the oil sample taken with additional oil samples that should be taken for each of the engine for the subgroup of every 48 hours operating hour interval after the first sample. The sampling frequency must be varied somewhat with the indicated by the operation sample. The frequency should not extend beyond 60 hours. The equipment safety region for the reduced below the 40 hours because of the added analytical cost. Settling process should be continued until the result of the analysis samples has been indicated with one of the condemnation limits in test listed in table 2-3 has been reached with exceeded until the desired oil change in external extension is reached. The process should be continuous costly since of the engine for the subgroup that are subject to permanent damage because of the over the oil change interval. Analytical work over the sample examination of the analytical results should be done with quickly and carefully as possible to prevent serious engine damage. Table 3, lubricating oil condensation limits. Property of the ASCM method of the condensation limit. The viscosity determine whether the maximum oil change interval shall have been reached. The property of the table 2-3 should be determined in laboratory method to specify the table to specify the condensation limit to be used to determine lubricating oil's useful life. The group of the analysis of methods are not generally part of the oil analysis offered by most. Commercial use of the oil analysis laboratory. These analyses are not low cost. They generally cost between $50 and $135 per sample. With any of the condensation limits exceed with one of the sample, the oil change should be performed on all the engine for the subgroup. The hours at which sample the condensation limit was exceeded with the oil change for the interval with at least 10% with the more depending on the subgroup of the size of the group or the use of the lubricating oil with exceed with the useful life of the sampling of the analysis process should be repeated once to perform with an oil change interval. When this process is complete, the entire group of the engines can be replaced on the new oil interchange interval. The method of establishing the oil change interval to determine the different interval for each of the group of the engines. Not possible to provide the maintenance on several differences for the schedule of one desire for the schedule for the oil change that coincide with the other maintenance for the more conservative. The shorter the maintenance schedule should be used. Please contact the Cummins service representative. You need assistance to have any of the questions about utilizing the method to determine an oil change interval. Change the engine. Factors to be checked for the limit of the oil analysis are listed below. The oil change of the B check is shown for the maintenance chart of the page 2 for the average condition B. Bring the engine over the operating temperature, shut down the engine, remove the drain plug from the bottom of the oil pan, drain the oil to install the drain plug in the oil pan on 855 VO93 KTA, 1150 KTA, 2300 KTA, 3067, 3067 engine torque with a 60 to 70 foot-pound with a V378, V504, V55 engines, torque of 35 to 45 foot-pound with a V1710 with the engine torque with a 55 foot-pound. Fill the crankcase for the H for the high level, the mark on the dipstick of the level of the chart, the engine visible check for the oil leaks, the chart down, the engine allowed with the 15 minutes for the oil, drain back of the pan with the recheck of the oil levels with the dipstick, added oil is required. No, with each Using lubricating oil meeting with the specifications listed in table section 3, the genuine Cummins filters on equipment, the changing spin of the lubricating oil filters, unscrew combination K for the element, figure 215 discard the element, figure 215 installing lubricating oil filter cartridge. Alright. Each of the filters are chained with the check of the torque with adapter mounting screw with the cap screw. There should be 25 to 35 foot. If the cap screw is not within the torque range, the adapter may rotate with the spin on filter or the remove. Place the adapter and filter head gap for the each 6 main is checked. Fill the filter with lubricating oil. Apply the little even coat of the lubricating oil with the gasket sealing the surface prior to the installing the filter. 216 installing the spin on lubricating oil filter K2A2300A engine. Position the element of the filter head with the figure 216 tighten by hand until the seal touches the filter tighten head and tighten an additional 1/2 of the 3/4 turn. Run the engine and check for the leaks. Recheck the engine oil level. Add oil necessary to bring the oil level in the high mark of the dipstick. Allow the oil level to drain back into the oil pan before checking the level. This may require 15 minutes. Check the LF777 lubricating oil spin bypass filter. Unscrew the spin oil filter with the filter head with the discard of the filter. Applying light even coat with the lubricating oil with the gasket seeking the surface prior to the installation of the filter. Piston of the filter head, tighten by hand until the seal touches the filter head with the tighten additional 1 turn with the run the engine, check the leak, shut down the engine, add is only necessary to bring the oil level to the high mark on the dipstick. 217 shows the bypass filter cross section. Chain lubricating oil bypass filter element. Bypass filter must be mounted either vertically or horizontally inverted with all served to include manner. Remove the drain plug figure 5 with the 217 drain oil. Remove the clamping ring scrap screw 1 and the lifting cover. Lifting cover. Unscrew the supported hold down assembly 3. Lift off the element 4. The hold down the assembly. Discard the element. Clean the housing. Hold down assembly in the solvent. Inspect the hold down assembly spring in the seal. Replace for the damage. Inspect the drain plug connection. Replace the damage. Check the orifice plug inside the oil outlet in connection with the sandpipe with the blowout and air to open with the clean out. Check the filter. Cover the blow ring with the place the necessary. Install the new element in the housing. Place the support hold down assembly in the filter with the tighten the down stop with the position O-ring seal with the housing of the flange. Install the cover and clamping rings. Tighten the cap screws until the clamping lugs are index. Run the engine with the check for the leaks and enough of the extra oil to case to fill with a high mark on the dipstick. 218 shows the inspecting bypass filter element. Caution: never use the bypass filter in place of the full flow filter. Change the full filter element, spin on type of the filter. Unscrew the combination case for the element. Figure 219 to discard the element. Fill the new filter. Clean up the fill. You will apply with light and even coat with lubricating oil with the gasket sealing surface prior to the installing of the filter. Install the filter. Tighten with the hand until the seal with the touch of the filter head. And tighten an additional 1/2 of the 3/4 of the turn. 219 show the changing and the spin on type of the fuel filter, mechanical tightening of the distorb with the cracks of the filter head. 220 installing the replaceable fuel filter element. Or replaceable element 1 with the drain cock, the drain with the contents loose with the nuts at the top of the fuel filter, try with the dirty element, clean the filter case for the case for the install of the new element, figure 220 with the install of the new gasket within the filters, assemble the case with the element, tighten the kinder bolts with 20 to 25 foot per pound when the torque will range the filter, fill the filter case with the clean fuel to aid with the faster pickup of the fuel, check the fitting of the filter, have with the leak of the fitting should be tightened with the 30 to 45 foot per pound, with the check of the engine coolant, the periodic test for the engine coolant should be made with the ensure the frequency of the water filling, surface concentration of the DCA inhibitor adequate with control corrosion for any specific condition for the operation. In the case of the making up the water must be added frequently. We suggest the supply with water be treated when added as necessary. The concentration on the effect of the inhibitor is dissolved in figure 221 DCA coolant testing kit. If the coolant be measured with the fleet guard with the DCA cooling, check with the end kit with part number 3300846 as Cummins or 3375208, which is available to Cummins distributor. Check with figure 221. This kit indicates the DC concentration measured for the total nitrate with the coolant sample, which provides the cylinder linear cavitation protection. When antifreeze is present, the must be contribute the total nitrate must be the nitrate protection with obtained with the DC inhibitor in general. Good nitration reading that indicate the combined inhibitor package contain the antifreeze and use the DCA sufficient to ensure the cooling system protection. Concentration test procedure. Right through the plastic drop of the pipette into the simple type of the engine coolant. Put the fill drop exactly with the 1 millimeter mark with the discharge of the empty of the vial. Fill the vial with the 10 millimeter scribed mark with the valve tap of the water. Mix it well with the dilution step with the necessary to minimize the difference in color of the antifreeze. And 2 or 3 drop of the solution B with the swirl and swirl to the uniform red color. Add the open drop of solution A of the vial with being careful to hold the dispersion vertical positions as well. 5. Continue adding drop of the solution A to keeping count of the number of the drops. swirl between each of the drop, the color of the change from the red to a pale gray, green, or blue. Record the number of the drops required for the color to change. Consult with the table 2-4 for the cooling condition recommended maintenance. Adding the makeup of the coolant and the DCH cooling system with the test of the coolant and the DCA according with the nitrate testing procedure without antifreezing. Coolant with antifreeze, coolant without antifreeze, cooling condition maintenance required. Depending on the presence of the absence of an antifreeze in the cooling system, as designated the makeup of the DCA. For example, the 15-gallon of the cooling system contains only 0.5 ounce of the gallon of the DCA. Of the 1.5 ounce of the gallon is required. 15 ounces of the DCA should be added to make up the coolant. At one pint of the bottle of the DCA, 4 liter liquid PN 33005858 contains 6 dried ounces of the DCA chemical. In step 2, the concentration of dry ounce of the chemical per gallon of the coolant. Estimate the total amount of the makeup of the coolant required in gallon to calculate the proportion of the water. Antifreeze was required. For the example, the 1 gallon with the 50-50 antifreeze water was required. The 2 quarts of antifreeze and 2 quarts of the water. Add the required amount of the water with the mixing container to dissolve the number of the ounce of the DCA obtained with the step 2 with water. And if negative is zero, if it is negative or zero results were obtained with the step 2, do not add the DCA. If the DCA is dissolved, the water should be above the 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's required with the amount of the antifreeze to use the water solution to mix thoroughly. Add the makeup of the coolant in the cooling system. Note if the DCA concentration is low of the coolant level of the DCA may be added directly with the radiator, and the amount of the indicated step 2 of the engine should be the running of the warm enough to permit the coolant recirculation through the entire system. The bulk and the storage make up the coolant. If the makeup of the coolant is stored with the bulk of the following, the recommendation provided with the mixing of the storing with the coolant, the drying and draining with the clearing the bulk of the storage tank of the remove any possible contamination. Knowing the total capacity of the holding tank, calculate the proportion of the water in the antifreeze you would require, for example, the 500-gallon if, in which will hold 250 gallons of water with 250 gallons of an antifreeze and 50-50 mix. Multiply the DCA concentration for the total capacity of the holding tank of the gallons in the example above, the 1.5 ounce of the DCA per gallon. The coolant can be used with the 50-50 mixture, multiplying 1.5 ounce of the DCA per gallon of the time of the 500 gallon to yield the total DCA requirement of 750 ounces. Add the water to the holding tank, aggregating with continuously adding the DCA of the water into the small amounts used. The chemical as dissolved. Water should be above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Additional antifreeze less if you use the maintaining aggregation to bring with the keep of the finished coolant solution. Both the antifreeze and the DCA settle within the bottom of the tank and let the mixing with the recirculation. Provide an example of the recirculation. Use the small pump of the operating universally to draw the DCA of the antifreezing out of the bottom of the tank. The discharge with the solution at the top of the sample of the coolant can be drawn with off the top of the middle of the bottom of the storage tank. Test for the antifreeze, the DCA concentration inadequate with mixing and suspected. Was changing the DCA of water, change the filter with the element, each for the B check with the selection element to be used should be based upon the size of the system, including the cooling specifications, section 3. Note, whenever the coolant supply is changed with the system, it must be drained with the flush pre-charge with the system coolant specifications, section 3 for the DC compatibility with a different brand for the antifreeze. Alright, the spin-on element. Close the shutoff valves on the inlet and drain lines. Unscrew the element and discard. Apply the light even coat of lubricating oil to the Figure 223 shows the installing the DCA water age filter. Apply light even coat of lubricating oil to the gasket seal of the surface prior to installing the filter. Install the new element, tighten until the seal touch with the filter head tighten an additional 1.5 the turn, 3-4 for the turn, 223 for the open shut-off valve. Caution, mechanical tightening of the distorting with the crack of the filter head. Check the oil level. Check the aneroid oil to remove the pipe plug with the hole marked lube oil with the fill the engine. Lubricating oil with the level of the pipe of the plug hole. Reinstall the pipe plug. Check the hydraulic governor oil with the keep level halfway with up with the inspection glass with a high level of the mark on the dipstick. U with the sub aim grade is U in the engine clean chain for the crankcase breather mesh element breather. Move the wing nut 6-figure 24 with the flat washer rubber washer securing the cover to the breathe body with the lift over the cover to life out with the breather element, the vapor element, the gasket. Check all the metal rubber parts for this approved for the cleaning. Solve the dry through with compressed air. With the inspect the rubber skids replace for the necessary and inspect the body with the cover the cracks, the dents and breaks, the discard all unserviceable parts and clean with the new breather element. 2-figure 22-24 with the clean vapor element and element to the breathe body with 5 within install the rubber gasket 4 within cover the position 1 position of the cover the assembly with the body 5 then install the rubber bed washer with the flat washer wing nut 6 tight and securely secure element breathe the cleaning inspection remove the vent how to with the previously remove the cap screws washer cover the screens and baffle if you from the breather body figure 225 224 fills the crankcase breather mesh element and the vapor barrier. Figure 225 shows the crankcase breather screen type. Clean with the vent tube with the screen with the baffle and improve the cleaning solve with the drive compress for the air, wipe out the breathing housing, assemble the baffle and the screen if you with the new gasket and body. 5. Replace the cover of the boss resting. Secure the point of the screen if you with the secure with the washer of the cap screw, replace the vent. Vent tube cleaning the air compressor breather when you put the surface of the breather regular areas flows. Bendix Westinghouse paper element. Remove the breather. Cover the element. Figure 226 close with the reverser flushing the compressed air with the resemble the compressor. Discard the element if the damage is unsuitable for the cleaning. 226 the Bendix Westinghouse air compressor breather. Bendix Westinghouse sponge. Remove the breather from the air compressor for the disassemble the breather. Wash all the metal parts. Solvent blow dry with the compressed air. Wash with the element. With the solvent remove all the solvent from the element. Dip it in clean engine oil. Squeeze the excessive oil from the element. Cummins paper clean the element with the each for the D maintenance check with the remove the wing nut, the screw in the front cover the body, lift over the cover, or lift off the front of the cover element, inspect the paper element before cleaning the reverse flow of the compressed air, discard the element if damaged, if they are unsuitable for cleaning. Figure 227 caution, do not rupture the filter element. Figure clean the body with the front with the cover with the clean cloth with the rubber gasket, clean center plate with the place of the element with the front cover the assembly over the center bolt securely. The wing nut, Cummins air compressor breather paper element note. Anytime the three-prong unloader is used, set up the air pulsation across the compensator intake, which can be destroyed with the paper element pipe intake of the full Cummins compressor for the engine, the air manifold with the three-prong unloader that's been applied with the current factory installed with the compressor as equipped. The same procedure may be used with any of the Cummins compressor within the field. Clean tray screens. Clean the tray screen with kerosene. Clean itself with the dry compressed air. Reassemble to the cleaner. If the tray screen is extremely dirty, it may be necessary to singe the screen with the flame and do not melt the tin plate with the screen. Alright, C maintenance checks.